There are times where shoes that are budget really surprise you and perform above their MSRP. But then there are times when there is a premium shoe with all the makings for a classic or a legendary shoe, but they fall flat. Can you guess where these land? And these are the LeBron Witness 9. Let's get into it. Before we get into the actual video, if you can like, subscribe, and comment, any actual engagement helps the video to get exposure, helps the channel to grow, and I will be eternally grateful for all the support that you all continue to give. But without further ado, let's get into this review. Jumping right into the materials, the LeBron Witness 9 is a budget shoe through and through. There is no bones about it. You're getting the shoe, and this is a good entryway into the LeBron Signature Series, and you can try and work your way up into getting the signature shoe, which is intended to be the most premium, the highest performing shoe in the line. The LeBron Witness 9, in terms of materials, is a completely synthetic upper. It feels good to the touch, the synthetic suede, the mesh upper, this like ballistic mesh that they have in the toe box. They all work together really, really well. They feel nice to the touch again, but there is nothing premium about the shoe, and it's not intended to be a premium product. Now, as is usually the case when it comes to the materials, they really do have a tendency to dictate how the shoe is going to fit. And this shoe is one of the weirdest fitting shoes I've had in quite some time. I went with my true size 12, and the shoe fits incredibly big to the extent where I'm really just like choking the laces, pulling them as tight as I can just to keep my foot in place in the shoe. The shoe is very ill-fitting. If I'm making a sizing recommendation for anyone looking at this shoe, definitely look at going a half size down, try them in the store, go a half size down and see how they fit. Going true to size is probably not going to be the way to go for anybody, whether you're a narrow, normal, or wide footer. Definitely try them on if you can. If you can't, utilize whatever return policy you're buying from. As I said, the fit wasn't great, which means the containment wasn't great. Containment was loose, a lot of heel slip, a lot of sliding, my foot inside the shoe and things like that. So I found myself constantly having to readjust my laces just to make the containment, make the fit better. Overall, the containment wasn't very good. There is kind of like a outrigger built into the lateral side of the shoe, which obviously is going to be good for cuts and things like that. So you don't really have any fear of rolling your ankles or anything of that sort. And the ride height isn't incredibly high, so that isn't really a concern. Really, the concern is just the way your foot isn't really secure inside the shoe. Moving to the cushioning was good. It was my first experience with React X, and I had to do a little bit of research on what the difference was between React and React X. And it's really the manufacturing process in the way they make React and the way they make React X that makes React X, while it's the same more or less composition, it's really the, again, manufacturing process, the way it's finished, ends up making it a little bit bouncier. Now, in my experience with React X, it's a little bit on the firmer side. In my personal opinion, it is a pretty stable foam, but it is pretty firm, again, in my experience. The React X on the LeBron Witness 9 is squishy. It's a softer sensation. I think if they would have kept it caged instead of like having it exposed in the heel and in the outsole area, in the midfoot area, I think if they would have kept it contained or caged, I think we would have had a more firm ride, but also a bouncier ride, which I think would have benefited the shoe. The shoe was, again, squishy, but didn't necessarily feel bouncy. In previous iterations of the Witness, we had the Max Air unit in the heel, which obviously provides a lot of impact protection. And then I believe they've used React in the past. But React X foam was my first experience trying the foam out. And I think in this iteration, I think they could have done things differently to make it better overall. But it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It wasn't bouncy as I expected it to be. It was just fine. Moving to the traction pattern, the traction was kind of disappointing, to be completely frank. The forefoot area is containing a herringbone or a modified herringbone pattern, and then you have a storytelling pattern in the heel area. This herringbone pattern in the forefoot just didn't bite the floor well at all. I found myself slipping, and with that, I didn't have the confidence to make cuts that I wanted to make or drive to the basket the way I would have wanted to. While it looks nice and you would think it would perform well because it is herringbone, even on this court where other shoes have performed well, like the Sabrina and the Kobe, this shoe hasn't done well at all. And again, is pretty disappointing. Regardless of the fact that it is a budget shoe, doesn't mean that you shouldn't have good performing aspects. Now, when it comes to my recommendation, as I said at the beginning of the video, you have like quote unquote budget shoes that perform better than their MSRP. And then you have shoes that are intended to be premium shoes with premium technology that are intended to be performers, but fall flat. And immediately I'm thinking of like the GT Future, which has all the makings of a good performer. It has all the nice tech inside, but they're like bricks on your feet and they cost a lot. But the LeBron Witness 9 at $105 US makes too many compromises to hit that price point. And I think those compromises end up compromising, obviously, the performance. And with that means I cannot recommend this shoe just because I don't like playing in this shoe. The cushioning was fine, but I expected more responsiveness from that React X foam. But the containment was absolutely horrible. My feet were swimming in the shoe and I went true to size. I pulled my laces tighter. Like, I did all the things I can do to avoid the heel slip and avoid all the extra room in the toe, or in the shoe itself. Traction was just not good. It didn't bite the floor no matter how much I wiped. I just didn't have any real traction right from the start with this shoe. Overall, I think if you're getting this shoe as a casual shoe, something that you're just going to wear on the streets, that's fine. But in terms of performance, I would not recommend you get the shoe. There are a lot of options at cheaper price points or equal price points that perform better than the shoe, and there's always going to be options that are cheaper than this shoe that perform better. But that will just about do it for this video. If there's anything I missed or anything you would like to know about the LeBron Witness 9, please leave a comment. If you liked this video, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. But if you really, really liked it, please hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend that might be into this type of content. Thank you all for watching, and you have a great day.